When I left my marriage, I was more lost than I'd ever been. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my life was going to look like. I didn't feel like I had a purpose anymore. And so a lot of that first year after leaving my marriage, growing up in a Christian home and feeling like divorce was, the unforgivable sin, I felt very alone and empty. And it was only by the grace of God that I really carried through that year, because God's love covered me in a way, and His peace covered me in a way that year that I genuinely didn't feel I deserved. That I genuinely didn't expect. I kind of felt like, this...
It turns out the unhappy marriage wasn't the prison. Her own ego was. Women don't realize what a good man provides until they're alone with nothing but themselves.
Left me with nothing, homeless, left me a single parent to our child with nothing. My biggest regret is not investing in myself. I can blame my ex all I want for that. Ultimately, I did not demand that we invest in me. And for all my ex's hobbies and dreams and goals, we put all of our extra money toward it all the time. After investing in my spouse for 15 years, they decided that now that they had this great job, that they would just toss me aside and move to a fancy new place and wanted to take all their money with them. If I had invested some of that time, some of that money over those 15 years into me, then I wouldn't be struggling the way that I am right now. I should have invested in myself more.
She thought he'd stay, no matter how little she brought to the table, and he didn't. Now she's shocked that the man she took for granted upgraded without her. The regret hits hardest when you realize you weren't the prize. He was.
There are a lot of downsides to getting divorced. It is one of the hardest things that a human being can experience in their lifetime. You lose people and routines and security and parts of yourself. But when you make it to the other side, when you actually heal, you start to see the benefits that no one talks about. You finally get to rediscover who you are without all of the noise. You make decisions based on what you want. You stop walking on eggshells and start protecting your peace. You get your energy back because no one's draining it anymore. You rebuild your confidence on your own terms. You learn to enjoy your own company. And you stop settling for just good enough because you've raised your standards. And that post-divorce glow up that you hear about, that shit hits different when it's powered by self-respect. So yes, divorce will break you open, but that's also how the good shit gets in.
They always start by saying, "Divorce is the hardest thing I've ever been through," and then spend the rest of the video trying to convince themselves it made them happier. This is how women cope, and they always lose.
The other day, my 17-year-old daughter, said the nicest thing about me, to her best friend. She's FaceTiming her best friend. She's at my place, and I can hear them. My daughters and I are very close, and I've been divorced for about 6-ish months from their dad. It was really hard, obviously. As moms, you don't want to hurt your kids or fuck up your kids, ruin your kids' lives. But she's talking to her best friend, and she says to her, "My mom has become so much more interesting since she got a divorce. Who knew that marriage was holding her back?" And I laughed, but also that meant so much to me. My daughter does not bullshit. She doesn't say shit just to say it, so I knew she meant it. And it meant a lot. I love that they can see that I'm thriving, that I'm enjoying my life, and that divorce is not the end of the world. Seeing their mom happy is really important. And so all you moms out there worry that divorce might fuck up your kids or they might be angry about it. If it's best for you and you eventually will be happier outside of marriage, they're going to see that and they're going to celebrate it.
Her daughter didn't say she's happier. She said she's more interesting. That's what happens when a woman confuses chaos with growth and attention with fulfillment. They will never be happy post-divorce.
I left my husband 2.5 years ago, and it wasn't a decision that I made overnight. I thought about it and talked about it for at least a year. Our conversations felt like they were on repeat. Tired of feeling like I was a problem that needed to be fixed, or it didn't matter that I was unhappy. When I realized that things weren't going to change, I knew that I had to change, or I had to live with it for the next 40 years, and that wasn't something I was willing to do. So I packed my bag and I moved out. And my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner.
Saying, "My only regret is not leaving sooner," is just a cute way of avoiding the truth. She's terrified to admit she downgraded her life. Women love to lie to themselves. Delusion is their default.
Here's why women regret divorce more than men. Financially speaking, women's lives get worse after the divorce, while men's get better. The standard of living for women goes down an average of 27%, while the standard of living for men goes up 10%. So you can see why women may feel that their lives get worse after divorce, because their standards of living go down while their ex-husband's standard of living goes up.
Modern culture convinces some women that divorce is empowerment, when really it's just escape with a pretty label on it. They don't miss the man. They miss the life they threw away, thinking they could upgrade.
3 months ago, I sat in this very seat, and I posted this video on TikTok that's gotten almost 300,000 views. This video right here. I felt so guilty that day filing my divorce papers. I thought, what if he really changes this time? The truth was, I waited for 10 years. I waited so long of my life. And why? For what purpose? To lose myself? I stopped feeling guilty about 2 weeks after this video. And now I sit here in this very same seat, glowing, feeling a peace that I've not felt, knowing that I made the right decision by choosing me. So if you are in this process right now and you are at the guilt stage where you're not sure if you made the right decision, keep going. It's going to get better.
The performance is for the world, not for themselves. No matter how loud they pretend to be happy, silence is where the truth hits. The loneliness will grow as they get older.
Are you still struggling with divorce guilt? I'm Leah Marie. I'm a divorce recovery coach for women. Your feelings of guilt is actually coming from the conversations you're having in your head. To get rid of the feelings, you got to change your thoughts. Yeah, okay, great. Well, how the hell do I do that? You've got to just choose a new perspective. For example, I had to remind myself that my daughter was getting the best version of me now. I was teaching her that taking responsibility for your own happiness is important. I was teaching her to never settle in relationships. Beating yourself up about something that you can't change isn't going to help you. So find the silver linings and focus on changing your perspective so that it changes the way you feel.
Divorce guilt is just a label women invented to make destruction sound therapeutic. It's easier to call the pain a healing journey than admit they walked away from the best man they'll ever get.
You know what? I'm real embarrassed to say this, but every single day when I'm driving from one job to the other, I just think to myself, wow, you're so pathetic. You've been married twice, you're a 2-time divorcee, and not once out of either of those times did you marry for money. What an idiot. You know? What an idiot. I mean, yeah, sure, the first one, the kids are cool, but it'd be way cooler if we were just sitting on the side of some exotic island swimming with some cute pigs. In one hand, I've got a drink with an umbrella. In the other, I'm just waving it around like I just don't care. Huh? Not once could you marry for money. My God, get it together.
They see a relationship as an upgrade, not a commitment. If your value is only your wallet, they were never with you, just the benefits.
This month marks 12 years since my divorce, 2013, it's now 2025, which means I've been divorced longer now than I was married, which was 11 years. And the only thing I regret about my divorce now is not doing it sooner. I had a piece of advice when I was going through stuff, which was, if you have been thinking about divorce longer than you thought about getting married, divorce might be for you. Seriously, best decision I ever made. That man is still exactly the same person he was. He did not get better, and I'm living my best life. So if you're thinking about it, do it. Just do it.
They all say the same line. I only regret not divorcing sooner. It's not confidence. It's the script they use to avoid admitting they made the wrong choice.
Life after divorce. As a woman, I would honestly sit here and say, as much as I've made the decision and the choice to divorce my husband then, I also regret it. I don't regret it because I still loved him, but I regret it because I feel like I denied my children the right and the opportunity to have what people call a normal family. Now today I'm sitting with kids who are in the statistic of divorce. So as much as I've divorced, I would never ever advise anybody to go through a divorce.
They don't regret the divorce in their 20s or 30s. That's when attention is still currency. The regret hits later, when the silence gets louder than the validation ever was.
If I had known this, it would have saved me from a second divorce. Every choice you make stems from what you believe you deserve. After my divorce, no confidence. It was my mission to get into another relationship and fall in love. I needed to prove to myself that my divorce was the right decision. I needed someone to make me feel like I was worth loving. I didn't know how to do that for myself. And when you're coming from that place of lack, you choose the wrong partners. And here's divorce number 2. Don't do what I did. Take the time to get to know yourself and to like yourself so that you know what you deserve and you don't settle for less. Come join Divorced and Empowered if you want to connect with other women rebuilding after divorce.
She thought leaving the first man would lead her to someone better, and the second divorce proved it was never the men. The common denominator in both endings was her.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful to men out there when I say this. However, I feel like when men divorce, it's very different from when women divorce, because when men divorce, they're so quick to replace their ex-wife because they want someone to take care of them, cook their dinner, do all the necessary wife stuff, right? But for women, when they divorce, sometimes they soar and they become a better person, they're more successful, they're able to focus more on themselves. So I feel like there's a codependency issue here with men and women. And I'm not trying to disrespect or bash men.
Oh, yeah, of course they do. They tend to do better in divorces because they end up with the man's income from the previous husband's income. They end up with his house.
Sometimes.
They end up with child support. They end up with alimony. So, of course, they end up... now, by the way, their income bracket generally goes way down, but they end up doing better solo only because of these factors that most of the time the court rules in their favor and gives them the allocation of those resources.
They love to say divorce made them better, louder, bolder, stronger. But if it really made them better, they wouldn't have to keep convincing everyone, including themselves.
Women, generally speaking, aren't interested in men who aren't socioeconomically at the same level or superior to them.
Interesting.
When the woman starts making, or the wife in the relationship starts making more money than the man, the guy is 3 times more likely to be on erectile dysfunction drugs.
Really?
75% of women say that economic viability is a key criterion to mate. 70% of divorce filings are filed by women. And the number one source of that divorce filing, there's really 3 things. He has an emotional breakdown, he loses his business, or he declares bankruptcy.
That's the biggest cause for women wanting to file for a divorce.
When he's no longer a viable provider.
Wow.
People think it's values or infidelity. It's not. It's almost always related to money.
Most divorces are initiated by women, and it's rarely because the man was terrible. It's usually because the lifestyle he provides doesn't match the lifestyle she thinks she deserves.
I was single for like the first 8 months of that separation, and then I started seeing someone. It's odd because I've not been able to talk about it. And now Stephen and I are at this point where he's telling me about people he's seeing and I can be open and honest with him. And that is like the best thing ever.
She wasn't healing for 8 months. She was lining up a replacement. Women don't move on that fast unless the new guy was already waiting in the background.
The one thing that I've really been searching for is my true love. And that's always been a bit of a struggle for me. I think what the universe will do is when you need to find self-love, I think the universe forces you to be alone. Overall, when I look back at my life post-divorce, I've essentially been alone. Without that, I don't think I would have gotten to the place that I'm at today. It really made me take a hard look in the mirror, figure out what wasn't working, what I was doing wrong. I had zero self-love. It really makes sense to me why I attracted the men that I did. And, because the other thing is too, no one else can make you happy. That is an inside job. And I think when you look to other people to make you happy, that's when you can get yourself into really sticky situations.
Women always talk about self-love after divorce, as if they can't have it during their marriage. They rather choose to break up a happy home. Men need to stop signing marriage papers.
I interviewed a lot of men that were victims of divorce. And these are men that lost everything in divorce. Wives left, took the kids, took their money. And I found out it was a common pattern. After the second child, a lot of these women stop sleeping with their husbands and get the divorce. Most men live on their wife's terms, not theirs. The people that don't want to get married, I understand it. There's no good reason for a guy to do that in 2024. None. The odds are completely stacked against you. The laws are completely stacked against you. The average marriage, it's not a good experience for most men because they don't get anything out of it. My conclusion is the couples that make it work and figure it out in this mess of an environment, they're there because they love each other. Because there's nothing in this society that's keeping people together. Marriage seems to be going away for the middle class and be something for the upper class, and that's it.
Divorce leaves men financially broken and leaves women emotionally, physically, and financially broken. These women always take the biggest loss. Thanks for watching, brothers. Remember, stay focused, stay free, and keep walking your own path. If you found value in this video, drop a like, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on self-mastery and independence. Until next time, walk tall, stay true.